Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of Bored to Death. Felicia couldn't be here today, so I will be flying solo for now. She will be back though. This is our review of Sagrada. Players take on the role of artists creating the most beautiful stained glass window in Sagrada. At the end of the 10th round, the player with the most points wins. The game here is set for 3 players. Each player will start with a window frame and a matching score tracker. Shuffle the private objective cards and deal 1 to each player. Then shuffle the window pattern cards and deal 2 to each player. They'll choose one of them by looking at both sides and place the chosen one into their window frame. The bottom will show you the difficulty level. The more dots you have, the harder. Each player will then receive favor tokens equal to those dots. Place the score track on the opposite side to the round track. Shuffle the public objective cards and reveal 3. Do the same for the tool cards. All the dice go in the bag, determine the first player, and you're ready to play. The first player on each round will draw a number of dice equal to 2 per player plus 1, in this case 7, and roll them. She'll draft or take a die and place it on her board. Now there are a couple of rules to follow. On the first round, the die must be placed on a side or corner space. Then, these rules will apply. You must always place a die adjacent to one you already placed, diagonally included. Now, orthogonally, you cannot place the same color or number as the one there. Diagonally, this rule does not apply. Next, each space might require you to have to play a color or shade the number as specified. This is quite easy at the beginning, but in later rounds becomes harder to do. Once the first player drafted a die, the next player in clockwise order does the same, and so forth. Except the last player will do 2 consecutive turns. He'll draft the die, place it, then takes another turn. Then, play proceeds counterclockwise until we reach the first player again, where she'll draft a second die. It is possible, especially at the end game, where you cannot draft the die because you can't place it due to restrictions. In this case, you can simply not draft a die, but be aware that as soon as you do this, you won't be able to complete your window, as the spaces are counted exactly for you to take 2 die per round. When everyone drafted 2 dice, there will be 1 or more dice remaining in the draft pool. Take one and place it on the current round space, placing any extra on top. Then, the player on the left of the first will become first player for the next round. We personally use the Master Artisan card to denote the change. On your turn, sometimes specified by the tool cards in terms of either after or before, you may want to use the available community tools. To do so, you'll need to spend your favor tokens. If it's the first time a tool card is being used, meaning there are no favor tokens on it, you'll need to spend 1 by placing it on the card to use the ability. If there are already favor tokens on it, you'll need to spend 2. Now consider using these tools carefully, as each favor token will be worth 1 point at the end of the game scoring. Speaking of endgame scoring, besides your private gold card, keep in mind the public gold cards as well. These can be row or columns related, positioning, sets, repetition or lack of, etc., etc. At the end of the 10th round, players will count their points. Remove the dice from the round tracker and flip it over. First, count the shade total of your private objective and place your score tracker on the corresponding space. Then, check for each public objective cards. You'll gain this amount of points per objective on the cards, so yes, it's possible to gain multiples. Then, count 1 point per favor token remaining. Flip the token to the 50 side if going over. Lastly, any empty space not filled will garner you a -1 point penalty. Total all these up and the player with the most points wins. Sagrada is an excellent game that is quite addictive, especially since the games are just the right length. As you can see, the artwork is stunning and iconography is spot on, and the sturdy components from the player boards to even the box insert complement the artwork. I love how anyone can pick up this game fairly quickly, yet it has some depth to it, making it accessible to all gamers. What's great for competitive players is how you can affect both players to your left and right as the draft goes clockwise and counterclockwise. However, there's no real way of affecting the 4th player out of your reach, but this is a very small con for only a half a point penalty. Luck is extremely well handled, and there are many mitigation tools, literally. And with so much variety between them and the public goals and the solo mode, replay value is definitely a pro on this one. Now, speaking of balance and the tools, we did find that there is a little error in the final score tally. An empty space will only incur you a -1 penalty. So sometimes not using 2 favor tokens to finish off your window might be to your advantage, especially if it won't complete either of your private or public goal. And why lose 2 points when you can only lose 1? We felt at least a -2 penalty per space at the minimum was needed. But again, this was rectifiable, and it's just a preference on our part, so I'm only giving it a half-point penalty. In the end, the cons being so small and the game being a genuine work of art, we give Sagrada a whopping 9 out of 10. Subscribe now to our channel to stay in the loop. If you like our work, help us continue by sharing the channel to your gaming group. Thanks for watching and happy gaming.